Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 46 of Bardic Quest, the show where a group of British trained actors tell fantastical, improvised stories through the medium of Dungeons and Dragons. So, a huge thank you, of course, as always, to James Webster, who provides us with the wonderful background art that we are able to use as part of the show, and indeed our opening credits. So do check him out at patreon.com/JamesRPGArt. And a huge thank you to him, of course, for allowing us to use that artwork. We are still without Annina and James for this episode, whilst they're busy gallivanting, doing that professional acting thing that we all partake in. So hopefully they'll be back with us soon, but in the meantime, we still have Ollie and Isaac partaking in this episode. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Last time, Johann and Thorik having ventured into the old owl well and ambushing the red wizard Hamun Kost, began their interrogation of him with Johann's blade at his neck and the zombies behind him halted on his command. And they began a perhaps one-sided negotiation of sorts, as the Red Wizard tried to bargain with Johann, offering him the knowledge sought by his organization, the Brethren Vigilant, the knowledge to be able to take on and destroy the creatures that they have vowed to end as part of their crusade of sorts. And Hamun Kost told them that he needed them to find an answer to a question. The question being, who was the wizard that built the old owl well? And he suggested that they pay a visit to Agatha the Banshee in Neverwinter Wood, who should be able to answer that question, thus helping him to complete his research, and upon finding the volume, journal, book, or whatever it is that contains this knowledge, sharing that knowledge with Johann and, by association, the Brethren Vigilant. Johann was having none of it, and slew Hamun Kost, bringing an end to his zombie minions also, which they piled up and burned in some form of mass funeral, before venturing into Hamun Kost's tent to find what he was looking at in terms of his research. So that's where we pick up. Johann and Thorik have been rummaging around. They've found some treasure, including a ring, coinage, scroll, and now Thorik is taking a glance at some of Hamun Kost's research. So, Thorik.
Hello.
You are stood over Hamun Kost's desk. His journal is open, and there are doodles and drawings and writing of sorts. And there are a few other books as well, stacked on the desk. What would you like to do?
I would like to do a mixture of trying to find any nefarious books of magic, because I think Johann would like to be able to, and actually I would as well. I would like to destroy such things, so they can't fall into the wrong hands, or take them with us at very least, so they can be kept safe. And then I would like to try and find books on the things he's been talking about, like any connection to his research to do with the tower, to do with this banshee person, what he's trying to attain, any notes he may have on the Brethren Vigilant as well. I mean, I'd probably be calling Johann over to help me as well, because I'm, one man can only do so much reading. Sure. And also this this Sister Gariel as well. I actually think it's probably quite important for all of us to take a look and make sure we don't leave any stone unturned, sort of thing.
Sure, okay. Do you want to give me an investigation check then in that case? And
I'd love to.
You can do it with advantage, Thorik, because you've got assistance from Johann and Sister Gariel. Brilliant. So yeah, just roll it with advantage for me.
Investigation, you say?
Yes, please.
Lovely. Whoop. That's 15.
15. Okay. So you rummage through and kind of start flicking through the books, all of you together, and you do manage to gather some bits of information. So I guess the easiest way to do this is maybe if you want to pose any questions that you might be looking for within your research, and I'll do my best to answer them based on what information.
Am I allowed to ask Johann for such questions as well, seeing as we're doing it assistedly?
Sure.
Say that again, sorry?
Can Johann ask one of the questions? Because I think...
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sorry. Is there anything in these books about what he knows about the Brethren Vigilant?
Yes, there are some notes, although even within the notes that you see of reference to the Brethren Vigilant, you certainly get the sense from his notes that he is very, very well aware of the Brethren, incredibly aware of who they are, and what they seek. It very much is implied within what limited notes, frankly, he has, that he was speaking true when he said that it is vital for a red wizard to be very aware of them as essentially wizard hunters, and the red wizards not being held in high favour in many civilized societies. Red wizards certainly seem to be quite high up on the hit list of the Brethren.
Ah, yeah. Anything that could compromise us, like locations of places?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay. I'm satisfied for now.
Okay. Thorik, any questions you wanted to ask?
I suppose anything to do... I think particularly are there necromantic works here, just in terms of like finding things that should not just be left lying around. In terms of questions, I think Thorik would be interested to kind of know in this locale how deep the rabbit hole goes. Does this person have connections to other people? Does his what is so important about this area? Because he's, there's another red wizard that we're aware of, Glassstaff, and it seems to be a bit of a hub. So trying to work out if we can get any lead to what they're after, that we might follow those to see if we can undo more of it.
Okay. So first of all, in terms of the necromancy side of things, I would say probably not all that much, actually. a few references to perhaps magical powers that he's aware of already, but certainly nothing in the way of like spell books or anything like that on instructions on how to carry out necromancy of any kind. Actually, a lot of these books tend to be much more history-based books rather than magical books. He's very clearly doing a lot of research, again, as was suggested by your conversation with him. There's a lot of reference to an ancient empire known as the Netheril, or the Netherese Empire, which was a massively powerful, ancient and magical empire, and certainly one that any of his volumes certainly suggest that the Red Wizards themselves are very interested in their history and the power that they had access to. It's not clear, though, from any of your notes whether or not, from his notes, sorry, whether or not he was after anything specific, or whether or not he was after just general power. In terms of connections, there is suggestion that he is seeking ways. Okay, let me put it this way. The Red Wizards are ruled over, and this is in some of the history books, by a wizard named Saz-Tam. Okay? And there is certainly plenty of notations in his journals of a desire to see that he is overthrown. And there is notes of... he only refers to them as the cult in his notes. But there's certainly references to the cult being allies, some of whom have operatives in the area, and perhaps potential meetings in the near future.
Any idea of where or when?
It doesn't particularly say.
Okay. I'll relay all that to Johann. Seems they might have connections. This cult, possibly the dragon cult that we've heard about.
The one we encountered on the road.
Not too much of a jump of an imagination.
Our troubles keep on stacking.
Were there any other specific questions that you had?
Johann?
Anything about the red brands, maybe?
Nope, no reference to the red brands. No. Nothing at all.
Anything about us?
Nope.
What is their favourite colour? No, I'm joking.
There is something that does frequently come up, particularly in his own notes. As I say, there's a lot of books about Netherese history, and he makes reference to different parts of some of these books, which seem to mention some sort of underground complex in the form of perhaps an ancient vault of some kind, which he has made note of as being a location of great importance, particularly with relation to his research.
The vault.
Does it imply that he hasn't found it?
It does, yes.
Great. Maybe that's what he was looking for.
I know of a place. Maybe what he's talking about.
Oh.
He seemed to know a great deal about my order. There are two main locations where the Brethren Vigilant live and train. One is the fortress, and that is a rundown old chapel surrounded by a crude curtain wall. The other is the vault. The fortress throws off potential spies, even attackers. It is to trick people to believe that the fortress is our real hideout, when in reality, our true sanctuary is the vault. The vault is underground. The man who founded my order was a miner before the order was formed. He and those who accompanied with him on his mission helped to excavate the vault, and it became our home of sorts. It's where we train, it's where we learn, and it is our true spiritual home. And most importantly, it's where we kept our library. The vault contains no jewels or gold, but it is our books that are our true treasures. Not long before I came to Phandelver, the fortress and the vault were raided and sacked by a coven of witches. And all our books were destroyed, except this one. Points to the book on his back. Those books contain knowledge relating to creatures, wizards, races, every enemy the Order has ever fought and defeated. It gives us our strength. But the majority of our knowledge concerns this coven of witches. And without it, we are powerless.
And you think this is that same vault that he's trying to sack and gain access to?
It could be. It could be something else. But
is it close?
No. Thankfully. But he could be referring to something else, but I think it sounds too familiar to dismiss out of hand. And he probably doesn't know that the majority of our knowledge is already gone.
It's a shame.
Yes, it is.
As you continue to flick through the journals and the books and things, and Johann in particular, as you're now starting to think about this as potentially being reference to the vault of the Brethren Vigilant, you do notice references. The more you go, the more recent, shall we say, of entries you look at, the more you start to realise that actually he's referring to some sort of vault within the local area. He's not managed to pinpoint specifically where, but perhaps somewhere hidden amongst the hills, potentially the mountains, or even the forest to the north. But he seems to have pinpointed it to around the local area within maybe a few days' travel of here, but not precisely where.
Oh. Never mind then.
Right then. No, I mean it's important to know such things. We'll keep our ear to the ground. Maybe he's not the only one looking for it. Maybe we can start to piece some things together. I'll be honest with you. I don't relish the idea of speaking to some undead banshee creature for information. That really doesn't sit well with me.
Nor do I. But it is our only lead.
Aye.
Sister,
Yes?
I thank you for your help. You were useful, and I'm grateful. You are no longer bound to us. The wizard is dead. You are free.
Thorik sort of shuffles his feet a little bit, and I'd like to apologize for my gruff demeanor when first we met. That was not very Feanor of me, and I apologize.
Well, it was a difficult situation that you've all found yourselves in recently, and I can appreciate your hesitancy to trust anyone, particularly somebody that you've stumbled upon out in the wilds. So, please, no apology necessary.
And I'm sure your god is great.
Oh, she turns up at sometimes the most unexpected of moments.
I know that feeling.
There is one thing. I don't know if this might be useful to you. She says, but I have heard of this Agatha, the banshee of whom Hamun Kost was speaking. I had perhaps considered sending an emissary to her myself to seek an answer to a question myself, but it seems rudimentary in comparison to what Hamun Kost has suggested. But I have heard that any who flatters Agatha's vanity might be able to gain an answer from her without succumbing to her wrath. And she kind of pulls out something from a little satchel around her waist, and you see a jeweled silver comb. And she says, I wonder if this might be enough to be able to trade with her for perhaps an answer. I don't know if that would be of help to you, but perhaps it's something.
Thank you.
If you say that her she can be appeased through trinkets and her vanity, then aye, it's a most welcome thing.
I have heard that she could answer many questions. I mean, she legend says she limits it to a singular question, but the scope of her knowledge and power is meant to be quite great. She could probably answer almost any question you like. So I've heard, of course. I don't know this to be true, but that's the rumour, that's the legend.
And we shall test this legend.
All right. Let's gather what more we can here and go and talk to our banshee. If
you wish to accompany us, you may, but if you prefer to return to your temple...
I do feel perhaps that my services might be needed in Phandelver. Perhaps I've been gone for some time, and I must pay my respects to Timora and help the townsfolk as much as I can. Perhaps I should travel with you until you reach the tribal trail, and then follow the road back to town from there. If I may, of course.
Of course, you're most welcome. You are handy in a pinch.
Oh, well, likewise.
Getting ourselves into trouble is a speciality of ours.
Well, Perhaps you have Timora's blessing at all times.
Nah, don't push it. And he walks off from her.
So as you step out of the tent, you've been doing this investigation and this research for a fair bit of time, and the sun is very low in the sky. Darkness is fast approaching.
Is it raining?
It is, yes.
I quickly collect up Hamun Kost's ashes in a little pouch and pop it in my bag. Just a handful.
So the whole contents of the pouch, you just kind of pop that in your bag, is it?
Sure.
Yeah? Great. Okay.
Can I just... Is the tower, the ruined tower, just literally ruins? There's no kind of, like, stairwell to a level above, or, like, an area below ground or anything?
There, within the tower itself, there are stairs and steps, but they actually just lead to nowhere. There's
Okay,
just like
cool.
there's only like the bottom floor of the tower remaining.
Great.
Sorry.
No. I was just going to say it again. Not exactly the most pleasant setting, but there's a tent. It'd be silly to go sleep under a rock somewhere, seeing as we've got cover right here.
Indeed. Now the wizard is dead. A tent is a tent.
Right.
Okay. Did any of you want to start a fire or anything? I'm aware water is probably an issue for you at the moment.
Is it still raining?
It is still raining.
Bowl.
We set out some bowls and we just off the side of the canvas, maybe, of the tent, try to funnel it and fill our water skins and drink our fill of clean water.
Okay. I don't know if you're going to be able to manage quite a whole day's water from rainwater. I think we can probably manage half your day's requirements for water from rainwater, but I don't...
You know what? I'm just going to make our lives really easy, and I'm going to cast Create or Destroy Water.
I thought you might be tempted.
You know what? Fuck it.
Okay. So, describe how you create this water for me then, Thorik.
So Thorik takes just a drinking horn that he carries with him. It's just a simple thing. But he just sort of holds his hand over it, and as he does, he just starts to pour from the horn into the flask. He takes Johann's, and then if there's any clean bowls and stuff, he takes those, and it allows me to create up to 10 gallons of clean water within range. It says in an open container, so he's kind of casting it and then sort of cascading it out as it's going, and fills everyone's skins, fills as much fills as many vessels as he can.
Okay.
So his intention is to be able to fill enough vessels so they can have their fill for that day, and then be able to fill their skins for tomorrow as well.
Good. Okay.
Johann
Clever.
takes his skin, looks at it, looks at Thorik, looks back again, then looks at Thorik again.
It's safe, I promise you.
Glug, 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 glug.
It's very it's like mineral water. It's like Highland Springs mineral water. From the Highlands.
I will assume that you have eaten today.
Yeah, that's a good assumption.
Because I'm pretty sure that Sister Gariel made you breakfast, Johann. in the morning.
I had a couple of rabbits on the way over.
Okay. So would either of you like to build a fire? It's still the middle of winter. It is still cold, and even though you have a tent and bedrolls, every little will help in terms of keeping your temperature.
It is the kind of tent where we can build a fire inside, right?
Well, I mean, probably.
Are there any like little sconces and like a? I don't know.
I mean, a tent close enough to the. A fire close enough to the tent, with perhaps keeping the tent open so that you can get the heat in, is probably going to be enough without you having to build the fire within the actual tent itself.
Right.
So I wouldn't worry about the fire safety regulations.
We don't want them coming knocking on our door, do we?
Thorik, I need you to sign this waiver.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So yes, did you want to build a fire?
Yes, please.
It would require a bit of firewood collection, but
Shit.
your
That went so well last time.
who wants to go collect firewood?
Up to you. We'll go together.
You can both go together. That's fine.
Okay. I mean,
We'll all go.
Because it's been raining, it's going to be a little bit harder to find dry wood. So could you both roll a d12 for me and -2 from your roll, please?
D12. Go on, Isaac.
7.
1.
You are a lucky boy, Johann, that Thorik rolled a 7, because your target number is a total of 8 collectively together.
8 hours.
To cover you for your rest, so that was lucky. Okay, so you managed to collect enough firewood to last the evening, and as you bring it together, Sister Gariel casts Sacred Flame upon the wood and lights a nice large fire to keep you warm throughout the night. So, you start to settle down for the evening, and who's going to take first watch, if you are going to take watch at all, of course?
I will take first watch, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Of course.
I will sit by the tent flap, just staring at where Hamun Kost's body was and where the pile of bodies were.
Okay. All right. So Thorik and Sister Gariel.
I'll take the last watch, so I'm closest to dawn, where
Sure.
I'll
Okay.
take a look at my spells.
Great. So you settle in for the night, Johann on watch, and await potentially, or hopefully, the next dawn. So that is where we shall end this week's episode. Thank you, of course, as always, for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate and review on your podcatcher of choice, and or leave a comment on this video on YouTube and let us know what you think. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.